comfortable because the NFL training camp has opened, which means the NFL season is right around the corner. And I have been waiting oh so long for it. But before the season starts, let's slow things down. We're gonna do some early NFL predictions. See if we can predict which team will make the playoffs this year that didn't make it last year, and vice versa, one that was in this year but won't make it last year. We have some quarterback battles to determine or predict. So, let's get predicting. Do they know who their number one guy is? Who knows? Starting off down south with the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. We have Michael Penix and Tua Tagovailoa. I still don't know how to say his name. Two lefties, two former top 10 picks, but both with injury histories. Penix Jr. is coming back from a torn ACL, and Tua arrives from Miami fresh off of the bench. Health may end up deciding this one, more than talent. I am gonna predict that Tua will be the starting quarterback in Atlanta, just based off the fact that he has more starting experience. But I don't think he remains the starter for the entire season. Going to the Midwest, to the Cleveland Browns, we have Deshaun Watson, the menace of the massages, versus Pro Bowl 5th round pick, also the son of my favorite NFL player of all time, Shedeur Sanders. New coach, new scheme. Let's see how everything goes in Cleveland, because Todd Monken hasn't shown his hand yet as to which way he's leaning. But somebody has been tracking the quarterbacks in Cleveland during training camp, and Shedeur, to nobody's surprise, has looked like the best one. Of the four, there's also Dylan Gabriel, and I can't remember the fourth guy. Watson is getting probably his final shot to play in this league. Even though that $230 million fully guaranteed contract, he'll be alright. Going out west to Sin City, to the Las Vegas Raiders. We have Kirko Chains versus Fernando Mendoza, this year's #1 overall pick, coming hot off a national championship for Oklahoma, if I remember correctly. This one's a little different because it's not exactly a competition. Cousins will probably be the starter. with Mendoza learning from him. He's been in this league long enough. He can teach Fernando a bunch of things. So, Kubiak is probably going to bring him along slowly, which is not that bad of an idea. I don't think they're trying to win this year. Coming back to the Midwest, Kyler Murray has arrived in Minnesota. So Kyler Murray versus the handoff merchant, J.J. McCarthy. And so far, Kyler has looked like the better quarterback. J.J. might not have a job after this year. And with Kyler's experience, Minnesota shouldn't take too long to start making noise. He's no Sam Darnold. Or maybe he is. I don't know. But it's a fresh start for Minnesota and Kyler Murray. Four rooms. 4 quarterback rooms. 4 teams. 4 decisions to be made. We will know in a few weeks. I am recording this on August 5th. So, my plan is to get this out before the Hall of Fame game on the 6th. Now, let's see if we can predict the correct division winners. The AFC West, I'm predicting. I'm not going to predict records or anything like that. Just the final standings for the AFC West. I'm going to predict that the Denver Broncos win their division because they still have that stellar defense. And their roster has already been pretty good. And they added Jalen Waddle. In the second spot, second and third could be interchangeable. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs. But it all depends on his knee. He has looked good so far in training camp, but that's only training camp. We'll see within a few weeks of the season. They did lose their top 2 corners to the Rams, but they did get Super Bowl MVP Kenny Walker III. Travis Kelce also came back. They drafted a defensive tackle and an edge. So if Mahomes is back for week 1, they might take the division. In third, I'm going to put the Chargers. Yeah, they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years, but they didn't really have an exciting offseason. They picked up a center, and they added a pass rusher. Wild card at best. So in fourth, that puts the Raiders. New coach. A rookie quarterback, even though Kirk will probably be starting. The AFC North. The Bengals added some pass rush finally. And they lost their number 1 corner. If Burrow stays healthy, it's probably going to be offense heavy again. The Ravens have a new head coach. And they got Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals. And Lamar Jackson is coming off of an injury-riddled year. The Steelers haven't had too much of a change this year. They added some weapons with Rico Dowdle and Michael Pittman Jr. And they also got Jamal Dean and Asante Samuel Jr. Plus their new head coach Mike McCarthy has history with Aaron Rodgers. So they could be dangerous this year. The Cleveland Browns are probably still reset because they have a new head coach. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback, although I think it'll be Sanders. They added some offensive linemen. But I believe that the Steelers will win the division. The Ravens will be second, the Bengals will be third, and the Browns will be last, to nobody's surprise. Moving on to the AFC South. The Jaguars won it last year, and they were pretty quiet this offseason, but they don't have a lot of cap room. Travis Hunter added a ton of muscle. And I'm curious to see how his second year jump is going to be. Houston loaded up on their weapons. They got Wyatt Teller from Cleveland and Braden Smith. They drafted a center and they traded for David Montgomery from my Detroit Lions. They also have Reed Blankenship from the Eagles. I don't remember seeing that. But one thing that will be a question is CJ Stroud's health. The Colts are a weird one because they started off hot. They were 8-2, and then they collapsed and missed the playoffs. They're bringing back Danny Dimes and Alec Pierce. They added a pass rusher, but they also lost Kwity Paye up front, so it's going to be interesting to watch them. The Titans, they have a new head coach. They brought in Robert Saleh, and they put some pieces around second-year quarterback Cam Ward, and they drafted a wide receiver. So they're rebuilding, but they're not freshly rebuilding, if that makes any sense. I'm thinking this is going to be crazy, but I think the Jaguars repeat as division winners. The Texans will be right there behind them, but it could go either way. If CJ Stroud stays healthy and plays well, it'll be the Texans. The Colts will be in third, and then the Titans will be in fourth. Just because they're still meshing with the new coach and all that. Now the AFC East. Starting with Buffalo. They have a new stadium this year. They went and they got DJ Moore from Chicago to give Josh Allen a number one receiver. They bolstered their pass rush, and they added some pieces in the secondary. The Patriots didn't really do much, and they could be right there with the Bills. And the Jets didn't make a lot of noise. They kind of slipped under the radar. They brought in Geno Smith at quarterback, brought in a bunch of defensive pieces, and they had 3 first-round picks. And then you have the Dolphins, who are in full teardown mode. They got a new GM. They got rid of Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and multiple starters on the offensive line. Malik Willis was probably going to step in at quarterback. I'm probably the worst roster in football right now. I'm going to predict weapon now. And, he's Josh Allen. The Patriots will be hot on their tail in second, as long as their coach isn't cheating on his wife. The Jets, for the first time in whoever knows how long, will not be fourth because they will slide in as the third spot. And then the Dolphins will be last. Now let's jump on over to the NFC. The NFC North. The black and blue division. Probably still the best division in football, in my opinion. You have the Bears who won it last year. That took it from my Lions. Because Caleb Williams stepped up big and they got Ben Johnson. They traded away DJ Moore, as we said. They lost a bunch of their secondary. The Packers have made the playoffs 3 straight years. But remember, Micah tore his ACL. That'll be a big question mark. And he'll be out for the first chunk of the season. They lost Romeo Doubs and some pieces on the O-line. So we'll see what they look like. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings, who, as we all know, acquired Kyler Murray to compete with J.J. McCarthy, although in my opinion, it's not much of a competition. They still have a very good defense. And that'll be a team to watch too. Now my Detroit Lions. And then we traded David Montgomery this year to Houston. And we don't have a lot of cap room to go make a big splash on the defensive side. More so leaning on the draft. And the whole Terrion Arnold situation. My total unbiased opinion, I am going to say that the Lions win the division. Yes, we have the easier schedule on paper, so that should help us. With the Bears right behind us, because I think their offense will outweigh their defensive holes, I guess. I'm going to put the Vikings in third because Kyler's going to get that starting quarterback job, and their defense will do all the heavy lifting. Which means the Packers will be in fourth because of their losses, and we don't know when Micah will be back. Now let's head down south to the worst division in football. We have the Buccaneers. Who lost Mike Evans, but they did add some tools on defense through the draft. The New Orleans Saints went out and got some people to bolster their offensive line, and they got Brian Robinson Jr., Jahan Dotson, Zachariah Branch, and they drafted a wide receiver. They did lose to Mario Davis, though. The Atlanta Falcons, new head coach, Kevin Stefanski. He has to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback between Tua and Penix. But they also lost some key defensive pieces, like Caden Ellis, Arnold Ebikiti, David Onyemata, and D. Elford. And who knows what's going to happen with James Pierce. The Panthers won the division last year. They made a splash getting Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd up front, which should help. That's about it, I guess. I'm going to predict that the Bucks take the division back, with the Saints hot on their tail. We'll see how second year quarterback Tyler Shough does. They mesh really good. The division's theirs. The Falcons will be in third because of the quarterback situation. And they didn't lose a whole lot, but they lost some. And the Panthers come back down to earth. Now the NFC East, a stacked division. I'm just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna predict that the Eagles take the division title. They did lose A.J. Brown. So they have Hollywood Brown, Dontavian Wicks, and they drafted one. The Commanders will be in second. But they did lose some players, Marshawn Lattimore and Tyler Biadasz. They also lost Deebo Samuel. But they do have a lot of cap space. But they will be in second. The Giants, I'm predicting, are going third because they went through a lot of transformations. They have a new head coach, John Harbaugh. They did get some big names: Tremaine Edmonds, DJ Reader, Isaiah Likely, Darnell Mooney, Greg Newsome II. They did lose Dexter Lawrence and Bobby Okereke, and Russell Wilson retired. But Jackson Dart will probably be your starting quarterback. And then Jerry's World will be in fourth. They did have a quiet offseason, though. They did bolster their defense with Rashawn Gary, Kobe Durant, and they drafted his safety, Caleb Downs. And last but not least, the NFC West. In no world do the LA Rams not win the division. They traded for Myles Garrett, for Christ's sakes. They did trade away Jared Verse, but they also got Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs. And I did just read that Aaron Donald worked out for the Rams either today or yesterday. In second, I think it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks, coming off of a Super Bowl win. They have most of their core. They did lose Kenny Walker III, Boy Mafe, and Kobe Bryant. They should have enough talent around the rest of the team to be okay. The Niners would be in third, and it's looking like they already have a lot of injuries. But they're getting Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and George Kittle back from injuries, and they added Mike Evans. They did bring in Christian Kirk, and CMC is healthy. Now, obviously, after those three, the Arizona Cardinals will be in fourth, who are in full rebuild mode. They do have a new head coach, Mike LaFleur, brother of Matt. They did get rid of Kyler Murray and Jacoby, which makes Jacoby Brissett the starting quarterback. They did draft Jeremiah Love, but they're just not there yet. So that's it for my division predictions. Maybe we'll come back to it mid-season to see how I'm doing. Now a team or a couple teams that make the playoffs this year that missed it last year. I'm gonna say the Chiefs. It's a pretty obvious one. They missed it last year because Mahomes blew his knee out. But even if he looks half as good as he usually is, they probably make it. Might be a wild card, but it's still making it. I could also see the Buccaneers making it. They just missed it last year too. They also started out hot and crashed and burned mid-season. So obviously if they win their division, they'll be in the postseason. But speaking of that division, I could also see the Saints making it. Because they went and brought in some people. Now a couple teams that I could see missing the postseason that made it last year. they're just stagnant. They're not like an exciting team. Plus, if Denver's healthy and Kansas City has their golden boy back, it's going to be hard for them. And the Panthers will probably miss it because I'm predicting them to be last in their division, so obviously they would miss it. And the San Francisco 49ers I could see missing it due to injuries, and Myles Garrett plays for the Rams now. Plus they have to deal with the Seahawks. Now, that'll wrap up my early NFL predictions. I'm not going to predict anything for the playoffs. Obviously with the division, how I predicted the division winners would determine the first round at least. So we predicted our 8 division winners. 4 quarterback battles. Teams that'll make the playoffs. Teams that'll miss the playoffs. We'll come back mid-season. And I want to thank you for resting, relaxing, and listening to my predictions. If you have anything different that you predict, you can put it down below. And I will see you guys probably for my week 1 prediction. Like the winners and losers. Like the winners. You know what I'm saying? Who I'm predicting to win all the games on week 1, so on and so forth. So once again, thank you. I hope you got some well-needed rest and relaxation. And I will see you in the next one.